Alright, everybody, Lawrence here again with another Locals. This is again the Time Vault. So I won with Toons, I won with Dinosaurs, so now I'm trying to win with Sky Strikers. We're going to see how that works out. And spoiler alert, it doesn't. I end up taking 4th out of, I believe, 9th. 4th out of 9 participants in this tournament, so let's go ahead and get going here. My opening hand is a Sky Striker Rose, Sky Striker, I believe it's called Sky Striker Maneuvers Area 0, Metal Foes Fusion, there can be only one, and Card of Demise. I was about to say Demise of Cards, but that's not accurate. Doing everything one-handed because I'm trying to do push to talk. It's for whatever reason, it's the only way my microphone comes in. So here we go, we just normal summon Ray, and we start going into our plays. Go ahead and link summon Shizuku. As this is our first turn, there's really nothing much else we can do, so we can go ahead, set to get our Shizuku search. That's pretty much it. And I just realized I said I opened up with Rose instead of Ray. I guess I wrote down Rose in my notes for some reason. I know exactly why. It's because this is not the right... I'm reading the wrong notes. Dang. Well, I'll fix it in the editing portion, but I opened up with Ray, with Sky Striker Ray, Ash Blossom, Eagle Booster, Card of Demise, and Metaverse. So the two face downs are going to be Metaverse and Eagle Booster. Then, of course, we use Shizuku to search me out a Widow Anchor. Now, there was something very suspicious about this guy's deck in the sense that he's actually playing a lot of back row cards. The meta decks primarily do not. Some of the off-meta ones will. Sub-Terrors, but like, as soon as I saw those back rows, I was like, I have no idea what the heck you're trying to do. Then he played Red Eyes Fusion, and I was like, okay, well, you know, I've seen this before. You're just going to summon Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. Turns out what this guy was playing was actually Paleozoic Frogs. And it's a fun game. This is a emotional roller coaster, if you will, of a game. So he's going to get his Dark Dragoon on the board. Dark Dragoon, of course, being the new hotness as far as boss monsters go. Oh, you're gonna probably hear a lot of moving around in the background. So I'm activating Eagle Booster. What Eagle Booster does is you target one of your Sky Striker cards or just one of your... Actually, I think it can be any card on the field, in fact, as long as you control no main monster zone cards. But it, initially, it just makes them untargetable by... It's either untargeted or unaffected by opponent's card effects for the turn. And if you have 3 more spells, you can't kill it by battle either, so you essentially can't get rid of it for the one turn. But you can... But because I didn't have all the spells in the graveyard, he can still swing over. So he's going to swing over, but I'm going to Resurrect Ray. Now, I have to be very, very careful here. Because at any point, he can just start negating my tricks. So if I were to, for example, link Ray off, he could negate that. But we draw a card, and we end up drawing Jamming Waves. And I'm still trying to do all this one-handed so I can use push to talk. We're going to link off Ray, grab ourselves, I believe I grab Hayate. Yep, Hayate right there. Waiting for him to have any response. And he's got Fogblade. So Fogblade, I think it's called Phantom Knight's Fogblade. It's a trap card. It negates their effect. It attaches itself to a monster on the board, negates its effects, and it can't attack. So Hayate can't do anything. And the thing about all the Sky Striker Link monsters is you can only summon each one once per turn. So it's not like I can go into a different one and then go back into Hayate. I can't do that. But we do go into another Shizuku. We opt to go ahead and end turn right here because there's not really anything I can do. But we are going to set. As I ponder what it is I want to do. And here's just saying, hey, I'm doing Shizuku, so I'm going to grab a Jamming Waves. On his turn, he decides to destroy my Shizuku, which is just fine and dandy. Of course, I resurrect Ray from the graveyard, like I've said in previous videos that I've used the Sky Strikers in. The lore, essentially, like the idea of what's supposed to be happening is Ray is donning the armor, which is the Link monsters, so the Shizuku is not like a separate person, it's, I guess, maybe the Shizuku armor or something. And so it's kind of coming. She's swapping out all the armors. Is what's happening here. So we go into Kaina. Now, unfortunately, we can't actually target the Dark Dragoon. Otherwise, Kaina would save us here because Kaina can target one creature or one monster on the field and then stop it from attacking for the remainder of the turn. Unfortunately, like I said, we don't get that option because it is untargetable. Alright, and at this point I actually kind of forgot to record what I was drawing, so you're going to activate Jamming Waves. Now what Jamming Waves does is it targets a set spell or trap card and you get to destroy it. It's kind of like Mystical Space Typhoon in that way, except it only works on set cards. Now what you can do, if you have 3 or more spells in the graveyard, is you then get to destroy one monster on the field. Doesn't matter from where. And it's non-targeting, by the way. It just says, if you have 3 or more, destroy one monster. It doesn't say anything about targeting, so that would get around the Dark Dragoon. Now, he activated a card right here called Dark Demise, I believe is what it's called. Dark Demise or Dark Desire, something like that. I'll look it up. And what it does is, it negates a card, and in doing so, it pitches a dark card from the deck to the graveyard. So we have a little bit of a discussion right here, because it's all in the way it's worded. So we end up calling the judge over here. I think he is at the store, so it was pretty easy for him to do so, or to get a hold of a judge. But so I activated Ash Blossom because if he can't send anything from deck to graveyard, then he can't activate the effect, because that would be a requirement for the effect, is what I was under the impression of. Judge is going to come over here, he's going to take a look at it, and what my opponent's assertion was is if the negate happens first, and then follow that up with you can do the sending from the deck to the graveyard. Or not, how did he phrase it exactly? Not in the sense that you can so much as it's like an after effect. Like the actual effect, the negation happens, and then the effect to throw something into the graveyard is separate and happens later. And it's not connected to the negation at all. So we ended up calling a judge over here, and I think you'll see it eventually coming up. What we end up deciding is the Ash Blossom would negate it, because if he cannot send the card from deck to graveyard, he cannot resolve his effect. I'm just not entirely sure how long this is going to take to go through. Because I know we were talking about it for a minute. And of course, I'll post up again, is it Dark Desire or Dark Demise? I forget what it's called. I'll post in the card and its information in the top box right there. So in the meantime, we're just trying to figure this out. In fact, I'm going to go do a little something here, and I'm just going to try and fast forward to the point where we know it's figured out. Because like I said, the judge rules in my favor. He says that because you cannot resolve the effect of sending to the graveyard, you can't activate the effect to negate. So let's just fast forward a little bit here, trying to find where we have it. So, yep, there we go. I believe this is the part where we get the ruling on it. So what he says is he really wanted to negate that spell so that he could throw something into the graveyard. So he has a second one on the board anyway that he could activate. And what he sends to the graveyard is, oh god, what was it called? I think it's like Armored King Backjack or something to that degree. In my notes, I just wrote Backjack because I'm going to go look it up and put it in the top text box right there. But he wants that in the graveyard because it gets some nifty graveyard effects that let him manipulate his deck and get some draw power. But we have a second jamming waves, because like I said, we really wanted to start targeting his stuff. And unfortunately, we got rid of a Waking the Dragon. So what Waking the Dragon is a trap card that does nothing. It will literally sit on the board and collect dust until it gets destroyed while face down. Once it's destroyed while face down, by any means, or I think, no, not any means, I think it specifically has to be your opponent's card effect, he gets to just summon any extra deck monster that he feels like. Doesn't matter what the summoning conditions are, ignores all that. He goes to his extra deck and says, you know what, I want, I don't know, Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. I want, Hot Red Dragon Archfiend, something like that. Or in this case, he goes and gets frickin' Toad. Totally awesome. So now we try to Widow Anchor and steal, and he negates. He negates it, and he steals it, and he puts it on his side of the field. Now we try to use Card of Demise, which lets us draw 3 cards, or not necessarily 3 cards, it lets us draw until we have 3 cards in our hand, and then it's a use it or lose it scenario. So if we have nothing but monsters, and by the way, we're not allowed to special summon the turn we use this, well, we're kind of screwed. And again, you'll have to forgive me, I didn't write down what I drew. This was a pretty good game that me and this guy had, so... We set that, and I do believe it is an Ash Blossom and a Ray or a Rose. Pretty sure it was a Ray, actually, and we set the Rose face down in defense mode. So now he starts getting his frogs on the board, and this is where, you know, you start to realize you're fighting a Paleo Frogs deck. And Paleo Frogs, I mean, Jesus Christ, they were king of the game at one point. Like, this is what Yugi Moto would have run if it was real life. I'm actually looking at running Totally Awesome in my Toon deck as a potential thing to do, because you get access to level 4 water monsters with Toons, being Toon Alligator and Toon Mermaid. You can Xyz those into Bahamut Shark and then use Bahamut Shark's effect to special summon Totally Awesome onto the board. You would only get 1 negate. You wouldn't have the it wouldn't be nearly as powerful as it is in a frog deck, but you would still get the 1 negate off. So in the meantime, he's going through his frog cycle. He is looking at making them stronger, and actually, because he can just win the game right here, I end up conceding to him, because I'm like, look, there's nothing I can do, and this game is dragging on long enough, we need to get to the game too. Alright, so here we go in game 2. And on this one, so we sided out Metalfoes Fusion, the 2 Foolish Burial Goods, the Scissor Cross, the Hercules Base, and the Eagle Booster, and we sided in 3 Summon Limits and 3 Dark Ruler No Mores. Our opening hand this time is Sky Striker Ace Rose, There Can Be Only One, Dark Ruler No More, Mystic Mine, and another Card of Demise. So, there's Rose, throw her onto the board, we're gonna link away, go into Shizuku. Now, and here's another thing I gotta give this guy a lot of credit for. I mean, he was very, very smart and very strategic in how he played his negates, because the first round, I was sitting there and I had Metaverse face down, and Metaverse could have put Mystic Mine on the board, which could have locked him out from doing anything with his monsters. But Jesus Christ, like, I was trying to bait him out to, like, you know, that's why I was throwing, like, Widow Anchors and stuff out there. I was trying to bait him into doing just anything that would get that Dragoon negate off the board. And then he got the Totally Awesome on the board, and I was just like, geez, man, this sucks. And he just would never negate anything. Except for the Totally Awesome, except for the Widow Anchor. So, you know, we kind of, like, this guy's really good about his, about what he wants to negate and what he doesn't want to negate, so. We went and got ourselves some Hornet Drones, and he's gonna do pretty much the same thing he did last time. So he's going to activate Swap Frog, at which point we are going to place There can be only one. So, with there can be only one, the way this hurts a frog deck is he cannot summon multiple, because you have to have 2 monsters to do an overlay into an Xyz unit, for the most part. I mean, there's a few exceptions, obviously, but thanks to there can be only one, sure, I can't swap out my armors, but at the same time, he can't summon up 2 frogs to go into Totally Awesome with. He also can't start summoning his Paleozoics because those count as Aquas, I believe. Sure, he can use their trap effects, so the like negations, flip effects, stuff like, flip face down, stuff like that, but he can't actually summon them because they would be Aqua monsters. If I'm remembering correctly about Paleozoics. I might be totally wrong. But I draw, and like I said, we were getting really into this, so I kind of stopped recording what I drew. But that is Area 0. So, Area 0, it's the archetypical Pot of Duality, pretty much. Now, I cannot swap my armors manually because of there can be only one, but there's ways I can get around that, so this is one of them right here. Area 0, in order to activate its Pot of Duality effect, has to target a card. Now, if I get a Sky Striker card from that Pot of Duality effect, then the targeted card gets destroyed. So I just got rid of the Shizuku on my side of the field, I can summon Rei, who is a warrior, and then I can go into a machine, which is all the Link monsters. And there we go, right there. We just go straight into it. Alright, there's our Hayate. Did our damage. I mean, it's kind of weird because there's not like a, because I know usually whenever I go for attacks, especially with the tunes, I put my hand on the card and do that little shuffle thing with it, but I don't know, I didn't do it this time. But you know I attacked with Hayate because I can't resolve the pitch effect unless I successfully made an attack, because it happens at the end of battle calculation. I think there's damage battle, whatever it's called. Anyway, so I sent Multi-Roll to the graveyard, and there is a reason for that, because Multi-Roll is one of their limited cards, and it's really good. So what Multi-Roll does is you get it on the board, and however many Sky Striker spells you play that turn, you get to go through your graveyard and add that many of different names and set them onto your side of the field. The only catch is the next time you use them to go to the banish pile. So it's his turn now, and he uses one of those Paleo traps and banishes my there can be only one, so now he can start playing his cards. Now, I'll be totally honest with you, I know the general game plan of all the frog monsters. I don't remember exactly what all of them do. And here we get what I will charitably describe as an uninvited guest. And, and I can't get mad whenever people drop in like this. I really can't. Because, it's not like I have a thing coming up saying, hey guys, I'm trying to, record, blah, blah, blah. But it does kind of irritate me because it throws the screen off. I don't get the space up above to, give flavor text on cards, stuff like that. But, it's like I said, I can't get mad at it. Well, I can't justifiably get mad at it, I should say, because you can get mad at anything. But, is it, it's kind of petty to get mad over that. But here he goes. He is summoning himself up a Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. Man, another crazy thing is, shoot, Red Eyes Dark Dragoon can be played with Paleos. Or Paleo Frogs, so that's another just crazy thing you can Like, it's one of those things, is there anything you can't run Dark Dragoon in? So he destroys my Hayate. Of course, I'm going to get Ray back on the field. We're going to link away the Ray. Now, in hindsight, this probably wasn't the best idea because I'm giving him something in attack position to fight me, or to do some damage to my life points with. And yeah, but I just, like, because I was thinking about it, it's like, man, I just want cards on the field. Yeah, I just want my my specific monster effects, and I was thinking very short term instead of thinking very long term about it. But we end up getting Kagari. He lets us get multi-roll back. And like I said, this guy was very cautious about what he wanted to negate. So we're going to take that hit from Dragoon, and he's going to hit me with Predaplant Verte Anaconda. Which, you know, this is going to be kind of off topic to the game right here, but I could see Verte Anaconda being put on the forbidden list. I could see that one, Link Cross, and Halqifibrax. Those three right there, I think are going to be put on the chopping block soon. But that's neither here nor there. We're going to activate our multi-roll. This is going to let us start playing our... This is going to let us start having some spell recursion. Of course, we can't target the damn Dragoon, so... We really have to figure out a way to play around this. Multi-roll does have another effect where it protects your spells from interference, essentially, but I always forget about that whenever I'm playing. So we do Hornet Drones, and this is constantly just like, yo, am I going to get to use my effect? Am I going to get to, you know, do this, X, Y, or Z? But, yeah, he's super cautious, and I will go ahead and tell you this game right here, that caution kind of bites him in the butt, because there's a lot of things he could have negated, and it would have stopped my plays. But we're gonna get another Hayate. Gonna do Dark Ruler no more, and I'm just gonna go ahead and say this right now. That was a really silly thing for me to have done. Because because I had that in my hand, you know, had to have had it in my hand, and I that's been in my hand since the beginning of the game. Why didn't I play that sooner instead of trying to bait stuff out? You know what I mean? Like, it's so dumb. But, you know, hindsight is something. And that's another Card of Demise that I erred with. And Jesus Christ. And the thing is, I'm not getting called out on it. And even though it's like, it's always one of those things after the fact, I'm like, oh crud, I couldn't have done that. Card of Demise, I special summoned Hayate, I couldn't have used it. So, ping me error on that. Alright, he's using his Dark Demise, Desire, Digibberish again. He's using that on Afterburner so that I cannot destroy his stuff. Because with Afterburners, so if Jamming Waves, if you have 3 or more, you destroy a spell and then a monster. Afterburners is kind of the opposite. If you have 3 or more, you destroy a monster, then a spell. But we're in a pretty good place right now because we have Hayate on the board with Mystic Mine. So there he goes. He's using that, what's it called? Something backjack. I'm gonna look it up for the video. For the, all the text blurs. But it's the thing he did earlier that he really wanted to put in the graveyard. Then we get another, shall we say, uninvited guest. We're finally able to resolve certain card effects, so I'm able to throw Hayate into the graveyard, or Hayate is able to throw, not throw Hayate in the graveyard, Hayate is able to throw a Sky Striker spell in the graveyard. So multi-roll is going to let us throw that Widow Anchor into our empty slot. But the next time we use the Widow Anchor, it goes to the Banished pile instead. Alright. Now he's going to go ahead and make a play to try and overrule that Mystic Mine. He's going to link those three away and get himself out Borrelsword Dragon. Borrelsword is quite a popular card in the metagame because, I mean, ever since its release, it's responsible for any number of OTK strategies. Not like an FTK, so like you're basically, if your opponent has something in attack position, you won, because it takes half the attack points of a monster, so it's always going to swing over it for 3,000. The idea is you destroy that, you have a second monster on the board with at least 2,000 attack, you hit direct damage, and then you use Borrelsword's effect to switch it to defense position and get a second attack, which is going to swing for game. Now, because we both have the same amount of monsters on the board, Mystic Mine is negated, essentially, at this moment. And at the end of the turn, he will, Mystic Mine will automatically be destroyed. Now, obviously, we do not want that to happen, so before his end phase, on his main phase 2 ending, I steal it. And he hits me with Get Out. Get Out. Can you believe it? Now, for those of you who do not know, what Get Out does is if you have 2 extra deck summon monsters on the board, you bounce, 2 or more I should say, you bounce them all back to the extra deck. There's, like, because I've got a few of them. And, you never hear about this card, but Jesus Christ, like, that right there was pretty clutch. Because now Mystic Mine does go away. But on the flip side, I got rid of his Borrelsword as well. So it's kind of how you want to play it. But, yeah, that was, man, like, I gave that guy kudos right then and there. I was like, man, you just hit me with Get Out, that's insane. Now, because we played Widow Anchor, we can now use Multi-Roll's effect and put the Area 0 back where it is. So now we're going to use Lost World, or, wrong deck. Now we're going to use Terraforming and grab ourselves another Mystic Mine. We're going to flip and activate the Area 0. So we'll get the multi-roll effect. Then we're going to target a card and do the Pot of Duality. Gonna grab our Jamming Waves. We lose a Dark Ruler. If I remember correctly, I had 2 Dark Ruler No Mores face down on the field, so his big scary guys are already gone. Like, most people do not have more than 1 Dark Dragoon. 1, because it's expensive. hand too, because you're probably only going to get one Verte Anaconda anyway. Or one Verte Anaconda play anyway. So there's usually just never any reason to run more than one. There he goes, using the backjack effect again. Alright, there we go. I'm just counting out my spells in my graveyard because so many of them revolve around that. Plus, the multi-roll is going to allow me to reset one of my spells anyway. We played Area Zero and Jamming Waves, so we did get to reset 2 of them. But like I said, now they're going to go to the banish pile when they're used up. So that's 3 less spells I have in the graveyard for like Kagari and Shizuku effects, but it's not that big of a difference maker. And I think he's on push to talk too, because he starts doing a lot of things with one hand as well. And there he goes, using the Paleo effect. So his back row Paleo, if I remember what he said correctly, it sends something to the graveyard. It's essentially a Foolish Burial, if I remember correctly, but the thing is he wanted to activate it so that he could use the secondary Paleo effect, which is to summon one of the traps as a monster. So we activate Summon Limit, so he only gets to summon twice. It's the same as our Toon World strategy. So that's 1 summon. And I believe he comes up with a set soon as well. Yeah. Now I do have to get a ruling on this one, because Summon Limit specifically says you can't summon more than twice. Setting is usually considered different. But anyway. On the end phase, I activate my Hornet Drones, because it is a quick effect, and that's so that I can personally bypass the summon limit as well. We do away with the token. I gotta figure out a better way to do all that. Go into Hayate as I knock my desk. Go into Jamming Waves. We have far more than 3 spells in the graveyard, so we're going to do that and then get the Destruction effect. Now I aim for his face down card because I don't know what it is and it'll automatically destroy, so I figured, hey, win-win, because if the face up trap doesn't have any effect at this point, it's essentially a normal level 2 monster. But what he ends up getting is Dupe Frog, and when that goes to the graveyard, I believe it gets to search. It doesn't get to summon, it only gets to search. But it gets to search out another frog, basically. He goes for the Ronin Totem. We're going to use the Area Zero effect. Gonna grab ourselves an Afterburners. Now at this point I do remember thinking, alright, we gotta figure something out. And that's of course the final Dark Ruler no more. Because within this, he is at 3,000 life points if I remember correctly, if my notes, you know, if I didn't mess up on the notes. So he's at 3,000 life points. Kagari is going to do plenty of damage. And this is where I'm counting out all my spells so I can make sure that I've got enough. And I don't have enough to boost Kagari to the level of 3,000, but I haven't normal summoned yet. I've only special summoned. I special summoned the token, and then that token linked into Hayate. There we go, getting rid of the jamming waves. So again, here we make a bit of an error. So Afterburners, like I said, it gets to destroy a spell or trap on the field after it destroys a monster if you have enough. So I was kind of, you know, you get kind of excited, you know, and you're just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, we gotta do this. So, Afterburners, the intent was, Afterburners is going to destroy his monster and then destroy summon limit so that I can play Ray. I didn't end up removing it from the field, because like I said, we were just kind of, it's kind of one of those really hype moments where I'm just like, oh my god, do I have the math to do this? And so, yeah, technically, so, I will say technically error, but thanks to Afterburners, I could have destroyed it anyway. So, it really wouldn't have affected anything. Anyway, that is that game, so that was actually the end of the round. We only ended up having time to do 2 games, because, Jesus Christ, I mean, that was super long. Time got called, and it ended up being a draw for us. Now, our first game was against Prank Kids, and I lost that one 1-2. Our second game was against Sacred Beasts, and we kind of cleaned up house on that one. I mean, shoot, I've been against Sacred Beast decks so often, it's like... Sacred Beasts aren't beating me, is all I'm going to say. Like 1 in a million, they might beat me, but at this point, I've seen Sacred Beasts, I'm very familiar with them, I know what to hit, kind of thing, you know what I mean? The Paleozoic Frogs, though, this was a draw, and then their final game we played against was another Sacred Beast. We ended up taking 4th out of 9, so not what I wanted, but I think, I'll be honest with you, I think the problem is I don't have enough hand traps in this deck. So, yeah, maybe I'll get rid of the there can be only one plays and start going for hand traps in place of that. But, you know, we're going to keep working on this, because like I said at the beginning, we won with Toons, we won with Dinos, I want to win with Sky Strikers now. In the meantime, though, I wish all of you a good night, and peace.